Yo, everybody. Welcome to Off Panel, a weekly interview podcast about all things comics brought to you by Sketch.com. I'm your host, David Harper, and this week's guest is the writer of comics like the upcoming Devil on My Shoulder at Dark Horse Comics, the now being kickstarted Where Monsters Lie Dead End, and other assorted projects he has coming up that we cannot talk about. Perhaps? It's Kyle Starks. Thanks for coming on,
Hey, that's
Kyle.
me. Hey, I'm happy to be back. I love being on this one. This is a good one. I like it when we hang out. We have a good time.
Yeah, we do. Is it just because we talk about Luke Cornett? Is that really why you're excited to come on this podcast?
We always talk about something I want to talk about. That's the best kind of podcast.
Is it you? Is that
It's often me. No, me. It's not just we talk about me. It's like you want to talk about me too, which is great for me.
We meet in the middle. We're like the Predator hand clasp meme where David Harper, Kyle Starks. We meet in the middle with talking about Kyle Starks.
Love that.
Before we get into that, though, how happy are you not being at San Diego Comic-Con right now?
I'm fairly happy.
Yeah.
San Diego, I'm sure many people have said, like, outside of promotional purposes, doesn't have a lot of value. I'm not going to make money, but it does feel like it's good for business. So it's one of those things, like, I don't want to do it. I don't want to do any of those big shows. I kind of hate them, but it is kind of neat. San Diego's kind of neat, you know? I wouldn't mind being Matt Kent's there. My friend Matt Kent's there. So I wouldn't mind hanging out with Matt. And so it's like, that's the one thing is like, it's one of those shows where you see different people. You see more editors. Like I like my editors. So that's always nice. But otherwise, who cares? I talk to those guys on the phone. You know what I mean? Like, it's fine.
I went last year for the first time. I ran into you several times. And
Yeah.
I ran into you. I mean, I intentionally ran into you. But the thing I liked about it, you kind of alluded to already, is like, you'll just be walking around and you just run into people all the time, everywhere. You're just like, oh, here I am, and I've run into this person, and here I am, like, getting breakfast, and I'm surrounded by people I know, and also it's got great weather, and there's just so much
the
going
weather's
on.
great.
Yeah, I mean, going to that just feels like there's really great vibes. And the funny thing too, and I've always said, I think, publicly and privately, that I had heard that San Diego Comic-Con was not a Comic-Con. It definitely is a Comic-Con. There's the artist alley is kind of weird, and it's small and like put off to the side, and it's way too tight.
Kind of a shanty town.
It's weird, right? It's not a good artist alley.
No.
It's very secondary.
It's good people, but it's a weird, everything about it's uncomfortable somehow.
Yeah, I mean, it's like the number of people versus the space in between the tables is just not possible. But besides that, it is such a good Comic-Con. And I was actually really impressed. I loved it. But I
will say in regards to that, when I did my first one, I think last year was my second time going. The first one was not much of a Comic-Con. There was like half of it was Funko. I remember there was a Blair Witch like relaunch, like the reboot Blair Witch was like the biggest stand there.
That's hilarious.
So it wasn't, and like when we went last year, there was a lot more people selling comics than I recall the first time I was there. So I think it's gotten better. I think the pandemic was good for being a comics fan at San Diego Comic-Con. I think I might have just not seen any of that stuff too.
Well, the other thing too is because of the pandemic, almost every publisher has stopped going to any convention, and they're all at San Diego. So it's like the one place you can, it's the one place you can actually see the publishers and go up and like, I want to buy books from Image. I want to buy books from IDW or whatever. And I think that makes it feel a little bit different because you both have the creators and then you also have the publishers. And even like go to New York Comic Con, there's like no publishers in New York Comic Con, which is wild.
No, not direct market, not US ones. Which is I think is an entirely different conversation. I think it's objectively a mistake for those publishers not to be at New York Comic Con at the minimum. It used to be Image was at C2E2. Emerald City I think I haven't been there in a while, but there was a fair amount at Emerald City, because they're close. Like Oni would be there because they're close, and Image Skybound would be there. But like they should be at New York Comic. Like that's a mistake, man. That's a huge mistake for all these shows that are theoretically comic conventions, even though they're not anymore. But like the publishers need to be there to help sell comics, right?
Yeah.
The only people coming to Artist Alley are not people looking to pick up comics. Like, but to walk by and be like, oh, Walking Dead or whatever thing, and then you go, oh, I might as well pick up, Bird King or something too while I'm here because that looks cool. Like that's what you need. And I'm sure there's the the promoters need to meet up with what do they care? You know what I mean? And it's just like no one cares. Like they should both care a lot, but they don't. So
I gotta say, wild take by you when you're trying to come up with a random example and you don't even use your own book. Come on, man. Come on. You could have said Sex Castle. Could have said, I don't know, Monsters High.
They don't take those. they don't take those to those shows. I think when we were at San Diego Comic-Con, it was like, let's see what Kyle Stark's books they have. And like,
Rick and Morty.
Lots of Rick and Morty.
Lots of Rick and Morty.
Rick and Morty's doing great.
You mentioned this. You talked about how you don't really do the big cons. We talked about this.
Well, I do, but yeah, not the. I don't love them, but the big ones, I don't love them.
Well, we talked about this after, I think, New York Comic Con 2023, where I did a piece about like the value of being in Artist Alley and the value of going to those cons and stuff. And I remember you telling me that like your main focus is on the smaller cons. Is that just, or why is that? Is that because the audience is different and is looking for comics in specific, or is it something else?
It's probably, I don't want to say laziness, but being how high the degree of inconvenience is. But at that time, and I think it was, I'd have to look at my numbers for this year, but that was 23 years ago. I made more money, like pound for pound, at the smaller shows than I did at the bigger shows. And I think that was because a lot of people, I think at that time, and I think it maybe is changing. I think it's coming back to mean, or whatever we like to say. I think at that time, a lot of people were like, well, I don't want to go to Chicago, but you guys are coming to this whatever regional show. And I could just see them there and I'll spend the same amount of money. I'll still buy $40 worth of books or whatever. Whereas at the big shows, it's so spread out that people had to start making choices. So I think there's less, and I don't know the numbers, but I feel like because of the cost of getting a hotel, like C2E2, when I first went to C2E2 10 years ago, it was like insane. It was like the first 3 years I went there was just insane. I was making really great money. And then, the last couple of years, and of course I'm there every year. That's a fact. There's certain factors that you go, is it because you're there every year, which I'm not. I took 2 years off, but it's like the money's down, which I think is true for all conventions, but it feels more noticeable at the big ones where you had certain expectations, where if you go to, I'm going to say Muncie, because Muncie's my favorite one-day show. It's the only one I like to do. I always make money there. It's all comics, yes.
Yeah.
That's Dr. Blanche is who puts it on, but yeah, that's the best. Like, and a lot of that is culture. Like, all that stuff matters. But for New York Comic Con, it's like, well, I'm gonna be there 5 days. I have to hotel. I have to fly. I have to figure out how to get my books there. But if I do Muncie, I just drive there. You know what I mean? Like, stuff like that matters. Lexington, I love Lexington. I just drive there. It's like, it's a nice little regional show. They put me up. They take care of me. C2E2 doesn't necessarily do that. I'm probably paying for a hotel. New York Comic Con doesn't do anything, though. In theory, those are also the larger profit shows, but I don't think it's as true as it was for me. But it's another whole conversation about sort of where I'm at professionally, which is where my Q rating, my visibility is rising. I think I'm more well known in the industry, but it also means people are buying my books in stores. They're not buying the books from me at shows like they used to. So there's a lot of factors that, it's like I'm not at the point where I've made enough single issues people want. I can kind of make because I'm doing more writing too. That's a big thing, is like, so it's less commissions, which I used to do a lot of, and I do a fair amount, but all these things matter, right? So I'm like, I don't have enough books that I can charge for signatures enough that's going to counter the fact that people aren't buying books from me anymore. So It's a weird thing also, but like at the regional shows, that's usually not the case. Usually the regional shows, like I do pretty well. So it's more comfort, and that I just don't be inconvenienced. That being said, every year I'm like, I'm going to do less next year. I'm going to do less next year. I say it every year for probably the last 3 years, but it hasn't happened.
How many cons do you do a year?
Before the pandemic, the year of the pandemic, I did 28.
Yeah.
Probably the last couple of years is probably like 10 to 12. I'd have to look, and that doesn't count like, in stores and stuff like that. But I'm trying to do, it's like, if I could do less, if I could do less. But I'm also like, if a convention invites me out and they're going to put me up and bring me out, why would I not do it? Why would I not do it? So there's a lot of that, because it's money and it's promotion. I think that's kind of the biggest value. But like I said, if the publishers aren't there, it makes it hard. Like, who are you promoting to? You're promoting people who already know who you are, know? So it's tough. I'm trying to figure out like new ways to do conventions in a way that makes them more eventy, like maybe that's doing mini comics or like stuff like that. I'm trying to figure it out. It's complicated, and I think I just saw another peer saying like all shows are down. It's like, it's true, they're all kind of down, though. It's grades, you know what I mean? Like, they're not all down 25%, or whatever the number is, but also like, what have you put out? How well did the publishers promote it? They didn't. They did a bad job. Like, I was like, no joke, like, this isn't a segue, but I just did HeroesCon, which is my favorite convention. I made the same I made last year, maybe more, maybe a little bit more. I can't remember. But the number of people who came up to me and they're like, oh, there was a second volume of Where Monsters Lie. And I'm like, yeah, there was. There was. And like, we didn't know about it. My store didn't get it. I'm like, yeah, I know they didn't, because they didn't promote it. Like the publisher did nothing. And so it's like, all that matters. Pine and Merrimack, like Pine and Merrimack is one of my favorite books I've ever made. I think it's one of the best books I've ever made. And we just got our accounting. And Fran, the artist, emailed me. He's like, I guess we didn't make anything. And I'm like, yeah, they didn't promote it. Like we can only do so much. You know what I mean? Like all we can do is make great books. That's all. And which is the goal. And I'm not just making books to make books. You know what I mean?
Right.
I'm trying to make only good books. But I can't make people see them. I don't have that. If I had that power, like, I would be at San Diego, because it'd be a nice 5-day thing for me to do, to go be in the sun. And,
I do think that that's the weird thing about all this. And like, I was planning on getting into this later, but we might as well get into it now. It's interesting that like Pine and Merrimack was coming on, let's say, roughly speaking, the heels of Peacemaker Tries Hard. It was actually well after it, but you were doing that. You had like the Pet Avengers book at Marvel. You had the Lobo. God, what was it? What was the Lobo? What's
it's probably cancellation special. It's probably closer to that. But I Hate This Place, which was Eisner nominated,
right,
and GLAAD nominated, and Where Monsters Lie, Where Monsters Lie Volume 1. Every issue sold out at a distributor level. Every issue sold out. So it's like which I think was 2023. I'm bad about. Everything's the same. I had a really great year.
Where Monsters Lie was February 2023. I know that because I looked up the dates. But I mean, that's the thing I'm getting at is it just seems odd to me. I know I'm calling into question the fundamentals of how direct market publishing and marketing works, that you would kind of have something to build off of that was obvious, like a real perceivable heat. Like people were really talking about you as like, a prominent budding rising star writer, and I know it's funny to say, but at the same time, I think you're a rising star. And like they almost kind of just left it behind, and that's just a little weird to me.
Yeah, I mean, again, just like whether or not they should be at comic conventions, marketing and promotion would be another entire. Like, don't pull the string, Dave. Don't pull the string. I'll never stop talking about it. But
we're gonna talk about it. We're gonna talk about it.
Okay, well. Whatever that year was, we'll say 2024, which was where I'm so bad. Where Monsters Lie Volume 2 came out, Pine and Merrimack came out, Barfly came out. None of those books were promoted at all. And it's like, I didn't do it. That was the year I go, well, these guys get it now. They're going to promote. They're going to sell the work. And they're like, oh, they didn't. So is that on me? Well, I don't think it is. But the lesson I've learned is that I have to be way more proactive. And I don't think that's right. My job is not in marketing. My job is not in promotion. I did not go to college for that. I don't have a degree in it. I don't know what's good. I mean, I think we talked, like, I started doing TikToks. And the reason why I'm doing TikToks is because that's where the most people potentially are that aren't in my vacuum, whatever they call it. Just my fans that are going to buy my stuff, hopefully.
Yeah.
Please buy my stuff anyway, fans. So it's like one of the things, like, I'm trying to do things to promote not just my work, though that's the intention, but also like some sort of enthusiasm for comics, because I think that we're losing that. There's people just being excited about comics and older comics, because I think older comics matter. And some of that is because I think I made good books that don't sell anymore. It's like, well, they sell, but you know what I mean? I feel like people should still be talking about Pine and Merrimack. I think don't forget, and that was a year ago or 2 years ago, our Assassination, our Six Sidekicks. And not because it's like I'm trying to make money. It's like I made good books. I want them to be read. And all because something is now 2 years old doesn't mean it's not good. And I think that's happened to a ton of books. Like a ton of books, they just disappear. And it's like, man, there's so many good books that... Anyway, I'm tangenting again.
No.
Promotion's okay, all right.
This is a tangent I wanted to go down because,
okay.
First off, you're actually hitting on one of my favorite pet subjects for the last couple of years, which is that as much as everyone focuses on... I'm the challenges of promoting and marketing comics in the direct market, new comics. I honestly think that the biggest weakness in terms of marketing in the direct market is the fact that there's effectively no back catalog marketing that happens.
Yeah, I agree.
I think it's absolutely bananas that like here's a good example. You said this, Assassin Nation, a book that you did with Skybound that is awesome. And what happened after that? Both you and Erica became even more prominent. And the fact of the matter is like, I don't know if anyone besides me, probably, because I'm always talking about your stuff because I'm a one-man hype machine, has like talked about Assassin Nation in like the last 5 years, basically. And like, that book should be in print, and that book should be like, why is that? Why is that kind of thing not? Well, I mean, I'm sure it is still in print, but like, why is that not something that is like kind of actively pushed for somebody that likes your work? And the answer is, I don't know. And that's not to say that the very capable people in publicity and marketing at Skybound are not doing a good job. But the fact of the matter is like it's about intent. And direct market as a whole has no intent on promoting back catalog in a real way.
Yeah, I don't understand. I started doing this TikTok thing called Comics for Forever. I didn't do it last week because I'm reading a long one. And my thing was that there's certain books that are always spoken about. Watchmen, Dark Knight Returns, Saga, because Saga is just an easy sell. It's like, man, there's so many. It used to be, and now this is showing my age, but like, it used to be we talked about different books, and those books are still good. I'm going to say that my next one, which is coming up, which is probably be out by the time, like the one that I was like, why don't we talk about this book is Zod. Like, Zod is one of those books that's so good. Scott McCloud, yeah. And it's like you can read Zod and go, oh, this is someone who completely understands the medium. But also, it's a weird what if, but there's books like that. I did JSA Golden Age. Like, JSA Golden Age is so good, and it should be spoken about in sort of that same vein. It's not quite as good as Watchmen or Dark Knight, but it's like, that's a good book no one ever talks about. So I was like, oh, there's certain books, and it's not like I had a list. I have a stack. I'm trying to see what I have over there. That I talked about Four Kids Walk Into a Bank, because like that's a great book. What happened? Like, why don't we still talk about Four Kids Walk Into a Bank? That's a really good book. And I think the thing is, like, those books, those specific books, are ones that would get manga readers into the direct market, because they walk that line of like, well, you don't have to know what's going on, and they're good, and you'll like them because they're similar in one way or another to what you like. Like, they're a little bit offbeat, or they're very human, they're very character driven, but they're great weird concepts. And it makes me crazy. And here's the ones that bother me the most, that have always bothered me. Oni has a book called Downset Fight, which is a
Chad Bauer is Chris Sims and Scott Kowalczyk.
Yes. And why would they not push that book? Which is it's about an ex-football player fighting mascots, and it's great. It's fun. It looks great. It's really good. Why would they not push that book every beginning of the football season? Why old head? I'm gonna push it every October. Every October, I'm gonna be like, hey, you guys like spookies? You like basketball? I got just the thing for you. This is the time of the year.
Perfect. Yeah, I mean, you're opening of the NBA season, and you got Halloween. But yeah, okay, I do want to note really quick for listeners that don't know, back catalog. When I say back catalog, I'm referring to stuff that has already been released, that is in like collections and everything, that basically kind of ceases to exist for comics, which is weird because like in bookstores, like books keep getting promoted forever, and it's a weird like. There's an extreme recency bias when it comes to direct market stuff in particular. And the funny thing is book market stuff does not have the same problem. They will never stop promoting old volumes of Dogman. They will never stop promoting previous Raina Telgemeier books. And you want to know why? Because they keep selling forever, because there's always new kids.
Yeah, but also they keep promoting it. You know what I mean? There's also like a weird, not vicious cycle, but whatever the positive version of a vicious cycle is. I just want like those first three books, and I'm sure there's like, oh, don't forget this one. But it's like those three books will always sell because those are the ones that will always be spoken about, right?
Which ones?
It's like they're Saga, Dark Knight Returns, and Watchmen. And I'm sure there's like All-Star Superman. Listen, if I gave All-Star Superman to my kid who loved the movie, who didn't know anything about Superman and loved the movie, if I gave them All-Star Superman, they'd be like, I don't understand this. It's like, yeah, if I gave them Watchmen, they'd probably enjoy it because it's a good story, but they wouldn't enjoy it while you and I, you know what I mean?
Right.
That's like advanced reading. That's not English 101. That's not Comics 101. Comics 101, you want to give them something fun that's good. Yeah, like Invincible, I think. I mean, I think Invincible falls almost directly into that, right? But we like it because we get all the meta stuff. They don't have to get the meta stuff. It's still good because it does that meta stuff in a way that isn't like nudge, nudge, wink, wink, I think. I say that.
I mean, Invincible is the best Marvel comic that Marvel never published.
But it's pure, though. You know what I mean? It's pure. So and it does go on. Like people are like, I don't want to get volume 5 of Invincible. It's like, well, now you don't have to because, it's all there, just like manga. Just like manga, you can get all the volumes in a row, and it's really easy to do right now.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of good stuff. I keep looking back to try to think of other people's stuff. Like Mind Management is a good example of one that has also stuck around, like because Matt does such a good job. But Mind Management is a great book that keeps selling because they push it, right? Like because it sells. But it's like you have good books, and now they're not all good. Like they're not all good.
No.
But listen. Name a publisher. You have 6 books that you could sell every year if you just were like, hey, don't forget we made this really good book 5 years ago.
I love that this episode is basically you and I just trying to get ourselves blacklisted, it seems.
Yeah, no, I love them all. But listen, we say in comics, like, you have to love it. And there's and it's not just the publishers. I mean, it's everything. It's everything. Like, you have to love it. And I love it, and I love the publishers. There's just certain things like I don't understand as a freelance comic creator.
And now, a quick word from one of our sponsors. Across more than 25 years of work for Marvel, Image, and more, artist Louis LaRosa has defined himself as a master of the modern comics medium, producing a wholly unique, jaw-dropping style that could only be called carbon-based. Now, Oni Press is proud to present LaRosa's first ever career-spanning retrospective with Carbon-Based, The Art of Louis LaRosa, a deluxe oversized art book debuting first on Kickstarter with a bounty of exclusive extras this August. Packed with raw line art, rarely seen covers, character designs, and more. Experience more than 250 pages of LaRosa's hyper-detailed artwork for projects including Fortnite, Uncanny X-Men, Bloodshot, and more in one deluxe hardcover that must be seen to be believed. Featuring appreciations from some of LaRosa's most prominent colleagues, including Lee Bermejo, Jeff Lemire, and Matt Kent. No fan can afford to miss this. Visit Kickstarter.com and search Carbon-Based, The Art of Louis LaRosa to follow the campaign and be instantly notified at launch. And now, back to the show. We said we want to talk about Kyle Starks. Let's talk about Kyle Starks. I do want to ask
he hates everything.
This is tied to what we're talking about. You are doing Where Monsters Lie Dead End as a Kickstarter. The first 2 volumes, Where Monsters Lie and Where Monsters Lie Cul-de-sac, which I don't think people ever appreciated the name as well as they should, because it's a great name.
Thank you.
Those came out at Dark Horse. You're going to do the 3rd volume. It's a 48-page one-shot called Where Monsters Lie Dead End that brings them to Japan and hell. And really quick synopsis, it's about, effectively, it starts as like a gated community for slasher villains when they're off season, when they're not off killing campers and doing all the stuff that slasher villains do. And then like a story of like revenge and like friendship featuring a kid and a hellhound and a man named Fuckmaster and things like that. It's fantastic. I love it. But it is interesting because like I do think one of the things that's come up a lot in my conversations with creators is that while the direct market itself is in a healthy spot, it's very difficult for original comics and for creator-owned comics.
Yeah.
How does it feel right now? Because like you are publishing a book from a prominent publisher, Dark Horse, and yet your book, you're having to go in a different direction for the 3rd one for you're going rogue reasons, but also because you had to. So how does it feel? How does it feel?
It's not great. I don't love it. Again, I don't know. Is with sort of the independent stuff, the ones we've mentioned before, like, is it me or is it the market? I can't speak to that. I know for this, I think Where Monsters Lie is very good. I think it's very fun. The first one sold really well because it's an easy pitch, the one you just said. If you like slasher monsters, you will like this book, right? Like, that's it. And it's fun, but it's also gory and violent. And again, it's kind of meta in a nudge, nudge, wink, wink way, but not really at all. But the facts are the facts, is that volume 1 sold out. I may have done heavy promotion for that book with retailers. The second one, again, some people didn't know it even existed. And I wasn't hands-on with that. And because of that...
Can I make a quick comment about that?
Yeah.
I think one of the big problems was the fact Where Monsters Lie #1 came out in February 2023 and Where Monsters Lie Cul-de-sac #1 came out in October 2024. That was a huge gap.
Doesn't help. Yeah. Especially when volume issue 1 sold out. Like, you know what I mean? Why would we not listen? Again, I don't want to speak ill of anyone. I don't want to speak ill of anyone because I will say, like, I was talking about Devil on the Shoulder, which I know we'll get to, but Schweitzer's like, oh, you like 90% of your work is at Dark Horse right now. I'm like, yeah, I really like Dark Horse. I do have an issue with some promotion stuff, but again, is that on me? I don't know. I'm going to be more proactive in it. That's my response to that. with Devil on my shoulder, I'm going to be way more proactive about it. I'm going to really make sure retailers know what it is and figure out a way to make retailers know. Anyway, for whatever reason, Where Monsters Lie 2, for whatever reason I say with air quotes or whatever around it, because I know why, didn't sell quite as well. The year plus wait isn't great, but that book, I did only podcast interviews about Where Monsters Lie, basically from that February to that October. That's what people wanted to talk to me about, right? And doing this volume 2, all that stuff. There's a bunch of like people that don't do a sequel. Like, sure, a sequel will sell less. Sure, it sold way less. And I think it's just as good. And I think it's just as good, or it's very close to as good. So Peter was kind of the one.
Peter Kowalski, the artist.
Peter Kowalski is the artist. I kind of want to do 4 volumes because I thought if we got to 4, I'd send them to space, because that's sort of the inevitable, like, jump the shark. This slasher franchise has gone too long. But I had plans for this one, which is that they would meet the Japan monsters and that they would also go to hell for a while. But Peter was one who was like, hey, let's do it. And Dark Horse, for their reasoning, which I think is correct for their reasoning, was like, we can't justify it. Like, volume 2 sold terrible. And like, that's fair. But Peter was like, I want to do it. And I was like, well, I want to do it too. And I was like, I asked him, I was like, can I do it as a Kickstarter? And it's ours, right? It's not a Dark Horse product. It's ours. It's not a Dark Horse Kickstarter. It's ours. And they're like, sure. Because what do they care? I mean, they're not going to print it, right?
Right.
And if it's successful, guess what? I bet they figure out a way to print it. I bet they figure out a way. And so, Peter everyone works very cheap for this project, but it is a significant amount of money. Like, I'm asking for $15,000. $15,000 is to pay everyone to make that book and to print the book. Like, that's the cost it takes to pay the artist, to pay the colors, to pay the letter, and to print the book. And me a little bit. Like, I'm taking less on this book and I'm going to do all the work. I'm going to do all the fulfillment. Gosh darn it, Starks, you dummy. But we really want to do it because we love the Where Monsters Lie series, and I do think it deserves some sort of send-off, and I think there's enough fans of it that they would want that. So I did. I think the script is as fun as the other ones. Like, I had a great time with it. It does everything I wanted to do. We love the Where Monsters Lie. Like, I hope this Kickstarter is sort of a grotesque success, just so I'm like, oh man, I guess I got to figure out more Where Monsters Lie. If we just do a Kickstarter. I suspect that won't be the case, but I'm hoping that we reach that goal. So at least we can do this sort of send-off, this nice send-off for Where Monsters Lie.
The funny thing is I think a lot of people will discover Cul-de-sac because of this. And I want to say, I am the outlier on this maybe. I like Cul-de-sac more than I like the first one. I think they're both great. I love Cul-de-sac. Is it because of the friendship between Baphomet and the kid and Fuckmaster? Absolutely. Yeah. I don't care. The heart wants what the heart wants, and the heart wants a heartwarming relationship between serial killers and a child that is, I don't know.
Yeah. He's
the unluckiest.
He's like the unluckiest kid on Earth. He's
He's kind of happy though. He's kind of happy.
He's not sweating it. He's kind of even from the beginning. He's kind of I'm just going to roll with it, even though it's awful, which I love. The second Cul-de-sac definitely has more character-driven stuff than the first volume does. So I think they're both good in different ways. I think this third one, though it's very quick, it's very rushed because we're doing 48 pages instead of 20 or whatever it is for 4 issues. But it still does all that stuff. We take care of everything. I'm really pleased with it. I'm really looking. Peter's already started doing thumbnails. I'm like, dude, don't do that until we make money, because if we don't get to the number, like, you're not getting paid, dude. Like, don't put too much energy into this.
So the Kickstarter launches on August 1st, right?
Hopefully, but that's the intention.
Well, this is going up August 4th, so
it should be out. But someone correctly pointed out to me being too close to San Diego might be a mistake. But I like it when it's the 1st or the 30th. I like it when it's a month. It's a clear, like, you know what I mean. It's like, this is what's happening. It's this month. I prefer that.
I think you'll be fine. I think starting on August 1st will be fine. But the thing that I think is interesting about this is, obviously I'm a very big fan of this, and obviously it was necessary for you to go rogue to do this, as I put it. But the thing that I'm going to compliment you, I compliment you way too much on the show. I think there's a version where you let Where Monsters Lie go, and you say, Peter, no, we're not going to do this. It tanked. The second volume did not work from a sales standpoint. We just can't do it. I would say most creators would do that. The vast majority of creators. I'm going to say like 95% of them. You don't. And I think that's part of the reason why you are awesome in the way that you are is you don't let things go. You finish a story when you want to finish the story, and I think that's great. But why did you want to give the story a proper ending, despite all of this?
It's funny that you said, because like I'm very much of the mindset that the story that I told is the best story. I try not to think past Sex Castle, Six Sidekicks is Six Sidekicks. Those I sort of, they both had epilogues that Skybound wanted where I could figure out how to do more, right? Assassination, Six Sidekicks. But I'm like, that's their story. That's their best story. And for I Hate This Place and for Where Monsters Lie, because Where Monsters Lie was clearly like a horror movie to me. It's like the first, both of them are just like a couple days. They take place over a couple days, right? Those were the two where I was like, oh, I'm kind of thinking ahead. And I wish I wouldn't. But I knew for Volume, when they asked, I think me and Peter were also like, hey, what about Volume 2? And they're like, sure. Volume 1 did so well, why would we not? Is that you were thinking about 3. Because if Volume 1 did so well, why would Volume 2 not do well enough to justify 3? So I was thinking about 3. And if you have a good idea, I just think, I usually try not to think that far ahead, but I like for things to have an ending too. Where this isn't necessarily an ending, it is kind of an ending, but we can fix that. It's a horror movie. You know what I mean? There's always a way to bring the bad guys back one more time. But yeah, I've always said I've been so fortunate. There's maybe 1 or 2 gigs I've done because I felt like I needed to or I had to. I've always made the things that I wanted to make. This is a very stressful way to do it. But I feel like Peter wants to do it. I want to do it. I think the fans will enjoy it. I also think a lot of people will find about it cul-de-sac, so we're making like cheap PDF options available for that because we want people to catch up. Like I'd give that stuff away if I thought I could do it and still reach the goal. Like honestly, I'd be like, here's enjoy, and you know what I mean. But I can't because we have to make X number of dollars. But yeah, so I think a lot of people will be like, oh, I didn't know there was a Volume 2. I'll get the PDF and I'll get the comic, or I'll get all the PDFs, which is a great deal. I'm doing it very cheap. Because I want people to have them. We want people to read it. So that's the gist of it is like, yeah, I'm also in a unique position, David, where as a cartoonist, though my art is not as good as Peter Kowalski's, it's not as good as Frank Galan's, it's not as good as Steve Pugh's. If I want to make something, I can make it. And if I like an idea enough, I'll just make it. Where Monsters Lie was literally like 2 weeks away from me just doing a Kickstarter. Well, I'll just draw it myself because two publishers.
The original volume?
Yeah, I almost drew it originally because 2 publishers asked for it or asked for pitches, and I go, here's my great idea. And I think it is a great idea. It's an easy sell. And they're like, we don't get it, more or less. And I was like, oh, I guess I'm just going to do this one myself because I think it's a really fun idea. I really like it. And Dark Horse sort of came in, and they're like, what do you have? And I'm like, I have this. And they're like, we love it. So, but I was very close to I'll just Kickstart it. Or I'll do it in Image, whatever the case is. Like, I can always just do it myself because my artist is free. Like if it's just me and Kyle Starks, he's free to me. So that's a real place of privilege to be able to do that. I get to make what I want to make, and I like that to date.
Respectfully, I have no idea how you don't get Where Monsters Lie. That is an easy pitch. Like it's, I don't know. Maybe it's just because my brain is wired the same way as yours, but it's just, it seems like an easy pitch to me.
I think a lot of people thought, oh, if you do a movie of this, you'd have to get those pre-existing franchise characters, which is impossible. It's like, well, that's not what that is. It's not what it is. And I think I can't remember the other one, but it's like, it was also clear at the time, like they didn't quite get it. They didn't get that. They didn't get what I was doing, which happens pretty often, which is probably a failure of me as someone who's not great at writing pitches because I write comics for a living. I don't write pitches or essays very well. But we're trying to get better at everything. But so as we were close to drawing it, which wouldn't have been as good. It wouldn't have been, and I know Peter, I think is like, oh, because if you look in the back matter, I designed most of the characters. But it's like, I can't draw Baphomet. There's like 6 panels of Baphomet like destroying somebody. I can't draw those. Like it would look terrible. It wouldn't have the effect. Whereas Peter's literally pitch perfect for doing that. He's literally pitch perfect for Devil on My Shoulder. For you, like once you know. There's certain artists that can draw anything, like Ches Hurwitz, who drew Marvel Unlimited. I bet he can draw anything. Fernando Passaran, who drew Flash. He did draw Flash, but he drew my Wild Dogs. I think they could draw anything. Fran can do anything.
Fran's amazing.
But the other guys, I wish I was doing a book every year with Fran. But when you figure out like what Peter's wheelhouse is and where he's going to be the best at, which is what I think Where Monsters Lie and Devil on My Shoulder are. That's a great moment. You're like, oh, 6 Sidekicks with Schweitzer. I was like, this is the best for us. Like, this is a great book. Schweitzer is going to kill it. This is exactly in his wheelhouse. So yeah, Peter's great, and he's super professional. We love Peter.
I mean, the thing I think he's really good at, particularly on Where Monsters Lie, is like there's a tone that book has that you have to kind of ride this line, and he is so good at writing that line on that. But I do think I want to bring up the Kickstarter of it all because that's the going rogue aspect of it. I think that one of the reasons why comic publishers have not been as effective at promoting books is because they've become reliant on creators to promote the books for them, because social media and access to all their fans and everything like that, there's no surer path to promoting a book than going through that fan or that creator's own fan base through their stuff. And I do think that is in part the theory of it. It is 100% the idea with Kickstarter, which you've done. You're an old hand at, or maybe an old head at, I guess it could be.
Yeah.
You've done 5 of them.
This will be my 5th one. Yeah, this will be my 5th one.
Yeah, this is the 5th one.
Oh,
I think it's
Morty,
your first since 2019, since Old Head.
Yeah,
2020. Yeah, or whatever, whenever it was. How are you feeling about going down that path? I mean, you're taking it on all yourself, but you've done enough. Is it a nothing burger? Are you nervous about it? Where are you at?
My nervousness about it is, and I think I asked for 15 on Old Head, but Old Head was a $20 graphic novel. My anxiousness is that
it's one shot. It's 40 a page.
That, and I have to charge more. I have to charge more than what I would comfortably, which I think is Kickstarter. Like you go, it's too high. It's like, yeah, I know it's Kickstarter, because I know, and I'm not throwing anyone in the bus at all. But I know Mafood just did a 48-page black and white one shot. He charged $20 for it. I'm going to charge 15. So it's like there's a rate. You know what I mean? There's a rate. But what makes me anxious about it is that Vlad and Peter, Josh is a letter. But those guys have work that's reliant on me. You know what I mean? Like this is a period of window that relies on me. So that's my nervousness, because if it fails, because for Peter, we have timed it so he will be finishing issue 4 of Devil on My Shoulder this month, and so he hopefully can start doing Where Monsters Lie one shot in September. But if not, is he out 3 months work? I don't know. And I hope not. Like, I really hope not. That's my nervousness. My nervousness.
Because you owe it to your collaborators.
And it's me asking more. I don't remember what I asked for Old Head. I've made more than 15 on the last 3. So I shouldn't be worried about it, but it's 2025. I worry about people's economics. I worry about their financials. There's all these things that make me very anxious. The postage has changed. Wanting to look good. Also, it's a volume 3, so like that makes me anxious. But again, we're trying to do very, very cheap catch up. The people are, I think I like this. You're like, well, you can get it. Also, those 2 books are still in print. Like if you want the physical, you can go get them. But that's like it sucks not to have like here's all 3 books, which is just not fiscally viable. It's not viable. I'd have to order them. You know what I mean? Like it's not doable. I'd have to order them through Dark Horse, and I'd have to charge. That sucks. No one wants that. So I'm anxious about it. But I suspect it will be fine, but I bet it's close. Or if not, or people will be like, this sounds great, and it's going to do better than I think, which would be great. It would be amazing if this team got money for making this comic. Like, that'd be great.
I think that there's a real possibility people discover Where Monsters Lie because of this. Because it's never really gotten a focus in the same way, and this is like, you can get it all in one place. And I don't know. We'll find out. But at the same time, I think there's a potential. I also think that I don't think Kickstarter naturally fits every creator in the same way that I don't think like making an image comic naturally fits everyone, where it's like you have to have a kind of entrepreneurial spirit, and you also have to have a varied skill set. But like you do your like sticker club, and you do your Patreon, and you do like the different things that kind of go with these things already. You have a natural inclination for knickknacks and tomfoolery.
I wish I was better at it. Yeah, I wish I was better at it, but
I think you're better at it than you give yourself credit for. But I actually think like to be able to, it's kind of like with Ryan Brown. Ryan Brown's always been really good at Kickstarters because he has a pretty similar skill set as you. I think he's one of the best, honestly. But
maybe the best in comics, maybe the best.
But coming up with like
Ryan, I don't want to. Ryan Brown, for one of his Kickstarters, had a tier. I love him. I think he's a genius. One of his tiers was like, I will put the book upside down in the envelope for another $2. And it had so many backers. I think there's one tier, if he listens to this, he'll correct me, but I think there's where he would draw a mustache somewhere in one panel on a character, and it was like an extra $15. Something crazy like that. And it's like, I wish I had, and I'm going to use this word not dismissively are offensive. I wish I was a little bit more carny. You know what I mean? I wish I had like where I'd be like, you know what? That's fair. That's the price it is. I just don't. And I ask him stuff all the time because I know that he will segue. I don't want to segue, but I'm thinking about doing an ash can of an upcoming book for New York Comic Con. And I'm like, well, can I charge this amount for it? He's like, yeah, you can charge whatever you want. And I'm like, no, that's not right. You can't charge whatever you want. Like, there's a going price. He's like, yeah, whatever you think's right, they'll pay for it. And I'm like, I don't have 8 billion genies, man. I don't have that.
I feel like it's really, you have to have like that, like you either got it or you don't with that carny nature. Like I have a hard time with the carny nature, so I'm there with you. But all right, let's move on. Let's talk about your upcoming Bloody Revenge horror series, Devil on My Shoulder, which is coming from Dark Horse on November 5th with art by your Where Monsters Lie pal, Peter Kowalski. Before we get into it, I'm going to bring up something you wrote in an email because that's how I roll. I'm just taking stuff that you said from email. There's a very interesting quartet of words that you dropped in there. They were very dark, period. Not funny, period. Yeah. I feel like the last 2 words are coming up for you a lot lately. Are you deliberately trying to counter program how people see you?
No.
No. Okay.
No.
It's just about the story.
Yeah. And this has been the case. So after the pandemic, I sort of leaned back. Comedy doesn't do great when we promote Where Monsters Lie. Like I was like, don't say funny. Like, just don't say it. And they didn't. And it sold out, by the way, for what it's worth. I was like, don't call it funny.
It is funny, though.
It is funny. And I think, I don't think Pine and Merrimack is funny. It's funny. It's charming. To me, I go, it's charming. Like, there's humor in it. But it's like, you know, like, why are we focusing on comedy? No one likes that, but they'll know what to expect. But someone said correctly is that if people love Where Monsters Lie because of what Where Monsters Lie is, which is very much a sort of action horror comedy, and then they pick up Devil on My Shoulder, they will be upset or they will be offended. It's like, this is not what I was expecting. So it's like we're gonna have like sort of a trigger warning on the first page. Just because yes, because it's dark and serious. But it's like I like horror. I like doing horror stuff as much as I like doing comedy stuff. I don't want people to go, oh, he's only the funny guy. And the fact is, if they said I'm only the funny guy, I'm kind of okay with that too. But I have ideas that aren't funny. This is one specifically. It's like this. I wanted to do a Bloody Revenge. I haven't seen one in a while. You know, I can't recall it being done recently in comics. The Crow is a big one. It's like I just want to do it. And Peter's so pitch perfect for this because he has such a knack for violence. And it's like, I want to do a violent, bloody comic because I like those movies. I like those stories. But yeah, it's not funny, guys. Like, this is not like Where I Thought I Hate This Place isn't funny. And it is. It's nominated for an Eisner for Best Humor Publication. Like, it's just not that funny to me. It's still funny because I can't help myself. This one is like, it's not funny. I'm doing a pure horror book because I want to do a pure horror book. I want to do I thought Those Not Afraid. Again, I was like, this is pure horror. It's like, oh, I kind of messed it up again. Because I want these guys to be likable, even though they're not. Like, so it's charming. You know, they're charming, and that's funny. Like, whether or not the book is or not, it's like these characters are funny. Well, it's like these characters aren't funny. I didn't put one character in there that makes me laugh because I can't help myself. Like, it's very serious business. It's very serious business. It's a prime spooky. And we love that. But I want to, so there's interesting things happening in my career that I think we're not going to talk about, but I want to do more work for certain publishers, and I don't want them to be like, oh, well, who's the funny character that we can put him on? Because I think I would do a good job otherwise. Now, saying that, David, would those series probably have charming, funny characters in it? Yeah, I can't help. Listen, that's not the point. The point is I want people to see those. Like, look, he can tell a good story. But also, this is the story that I wanted to tell. Like, this is the book I wanted to make at the time I wanted to make it. And we just want people to know it's not funny. It's not funny.
And now, a quick word from one of our sponsors. As one of the most innovative comic publishers, Vault Comics has released some of the most exciting independent comics of the past 10 years. Vault's current lineup includes a murderer's row of titles like Post Malone's brand new comic series Big Rig, Money Shot Big Bang by Patton Oswalt, Tim Seeley, and Garth Graham, and the hit sapphic shenanigans of Cornhowl's Lilith, all of which are available at your local comic shop. Vault's backlist boasts a who's who of comic creators, many of whom have been guests on this very podcast, including titles from the likes of Rom V, Cy Spurrier, Christopher Cantwell, Tim Seeley, Aaron Campbell, Liana Kangas, and many more. Vault is even giving off-panel listeners 10% off on orders of Vault titles from www.vaultcomics.com by using the code OFFPANEL, that's one word, at checkout. So go to Vault's website and use the code OFFPANEL at checkout for 10% off your entire order. And now, back to the show. Even if you're not counter-programming, it does seem like you're trying to kind of change the perception of you.
We're diversifying.
Because, like, I mean, we've talked about this before on the podcast. It's like you and Chip. There's this idea that you guys are funny guys and you do funny guy things. And that is true, but not everything. And I think that that's the difficulty. I will say, let me read the solicit for Devil on My Shoulder really quick.
All right.
Something terrible has happened. For 40 days, T was tortured by 5 men and left for dead, but she will get her revenge on each and every one of them, and it will be bloody. An event that takes her on a strange and violent supernatural path of payback through bizarre encounters with ex-hitmen, sadistic art enthusiasts, and literal devils. Kyle, this comic is not funny. It is, I would say, to a very real degree, bleak in a way that I've never seen from you. I will say it's also, you are very good at doing this. Peter is very good at doing this. It very much accomplishes its goals. But it is interesting because, like, I don't blame you for having that trigger warning in the beginning, because it will be, it's an experience, and it is a great setup for a revenge story. But boy, that first issue, you're either gonna feel like you want that revenge or not. And I have to imagine it's gonna be you do. But you know, we're talking about changing perception, but how do you balance between fighting to change how people see you and falling down a path of like straight up bleakness?
Yeah. Well, I don't think that's going to happen. I think my biggest concern is people are going to be like, well, which version? Like, which version of Kyle Starks is this book?
Like, you toggle back and forth between yourselves?
Yeah. Because I want to do, as a storyteller, which I hate saying, but I think of myself as a storyteller, you don't want to just tell the same story over and over. I had an interview with someone, and they're like, you never make the same book twice, which in my head, I'm like, I don't know if that's entirely true, but it's not intentional. I just this is the story that I'm fixated on at that time, right? Like, this is the one that I want to tell. But I don't want to just do funny stuff. You want to do all the genres at some point, because that's the fun of telling stories. And I want to put myself, I'm sure I said this before, and I hope he doesn't mind me telling this, because Chip, I consider a friend of mine, and I emailed him years ago, like probably 2023, and I was like, hey, how did you make that? How do you make the transition from funny guy to respected writer? And his response was, fuck if I know, which is so fucking Chip. But I think it's true. But it's like, I think Lemire kind of did. There's a series of guys that they kind of went from being one thing to being, and that's what you want. But I also want to always be telling the stories I want to tell. But I don't want people like, oh yeah, he's the funny guy, because funny guy in comics is not good. There's very few people who are successful based on that, and I will say, like, I've done well. And that's not because I don't want to do funny stuff, because I think if my legacy is I made someone laugh once a year for 20 minutes, that's my legacy for however many years I get to do this. Amazing. What a blessing on my life. But like, I don't want people to be like, oh, well, he couldn't do Ghost Rider. I'm like, no, I could do you know what I mean? I can do anything. As long as I can get a good idea. And I have a lot of good ideas. I'm pretty good at telling stories. I'm pretty good with characters. And I just want to get those opportunities, because I think doing those opportunities will make people check out Six Sidekicks. You know what I mean? Yeah. And that's really what it's all about, is that I feel like if we're going to do cinema, you know, I'm a Wes Anderson, whereas like, well, if you like him, you like him. He's very specific. He has his own voice. It's like, that's true. But I would not hate being more like Edgar Wright. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. I want more readers, not because I say this over and over, not because I want more money, but because I want these stories to be consumed. I want them to be seen, and I'm making them for people to consume and see them, to be entertained. And I think comics should be fun. And I think Devil on My Shoulder is fun, even though it is very dark and it's bleak. I think it's a fun ride, right? So even if it's not funny, I want them to be fun. But I want to tell different types of stories. I'd love to do I did do a teen romance, but it's like I'd like to do another teen romance that's more teen romance, right? Or I would like to do some straight superhero stuff because I haven't really done that. Even Marvel Unlimited is a little funny, like it's kind of funny.
Yeah.
Because I can't help it, but that's also what they wanted. That's what they wanted at the time. So I just want. It's just like I'm not done with comedy. I won't. I mean, Devil on My Shoulder is not funny. Where Monsters Lie is. The book that I'm probably doing Ashcan for is funny. Like it's fun. I don't know how hilarious. I don't know if it's hilarious, but it's fun. What do I have next? The Secret Project that they're going to be announced now at New York Comic Con. Like that's funny, but it's also not because I'm going from Sex Castle to I Hate This Place in Pine and Merrimack. I think there's a shift tonally where it's like those are comedy books, and then it's like, well, now they're humorous, but they're not. Like they're other things, and I think stories should have everything. So this book, it didn't have a place for comedy. They didn't have. No one needed to be charming in this. It's because it's not that story. It's a dark story. It's a violent, brutal revenge story. But the next one, it has serious, dark stuff in it, right? But it's like you can like these characters. They can be funny. Funny things can happen because bad things are going to happen too. And I think there's a balance in how the readers go on a roller coaster that I account for how I tell stories.
It's kind of like, I mean, I think you comp this to John Wick publicly already, but I mean, the thing is with this is that you want people to hate the people that harmed T, and you want T to get her revenge. And you definitely, I mean, like, there's only one path to do it. You got to get, what's his name? Not Baratheon, whatever. The weird dude who killed the dog in John Wick from Game of Thrones. You want him to, like, you got to have the bad thing to happen to get to the
100%.
Revenge.
100%.
And it's just, I don't know. It's fascinating. The one thing I will say though is like, you always describe yourself as funny, and I talked about you being funny too. I think the thing that actually is the most consistent through line for you that I connect with the most is actually the heartfelt nature of a lot of your books. Like you're good at bringing the feels. This is bringing a different feel. It's like fierce need for retribution, but also like I feel like I need to take a bath.
I think it's a very rewarding though. The revenge is very rewarding.
Yeah, I mean I believe
it's cathartic. I think.
There was a part of me that almost wanted you to have one revenge please in the first issue, just because I'm like I need that to like be like I'm on my path to like catharsis or whatever. That's not the diminishing the book. It's really good.
Yeah, I think that last page. The last page goes, oh, like you go, oh shit.
Oh
like,
yeah,
it's gonna go down. Yeah, how's it gonna happen? That's what for those types of movies, like you go, here's the awful thing, and we have to survive the awful thing. Which is issue 1, but then to go, hold on, how is this? Oh, it's going to go down. How is it going to happen? How do they pull it off? How will they get it? They will. Spoilers. They always get their revenge. But this one also takes a weird. I wish some of those things weren't in that synopsis because none of that's implied. But it does take a sort of a supernatural twist that I think is also very rewarding. Like I'm really proud of it. It's a really good 4 issues. I'm really excited for people to read it. And yeah, it's different, but I feel like also like I Hate This Place as a horror. It's a little bit less funny. Those Not Afraid as a horror also didn't sell well. That's not here nor there. Pine and Merrimack, also a horror that's not that funny. You know what I mean? So it's like I've been kind of leading people. It's getting less and less funny maybe, and darker and darker. Will I do another terribly dark one after this? I don't know. I feel like I got Those Not Afraid, and this one kind of got it out, but that doesn't mean I won't, because if when I'm on my walk today, I think of something awful that I like, if it grabs me and I figure it out, I'm going to do it. And that's where I'm trying to be, is if I have an idea, I'm going to do it, which is where I have been. But I want to look at other things. You know what I mean?
I have to ask, I didn't know this ahead of time, but Where Monsters Lie was at least in part inspired by the fact that you were watching the Saw series. What inspired this one?
That's a good question. I wish I could remember, because I did write this a year ago. I would say Where Monsters Lie, strangely, was probably more influenced by Fear Street, that Netflix series.
Oh, sure, yeah. Is that good?
The first ones were good. There's a new one I haven't watched yet, but one of them, it's sort of put out like this town has like every 10 years it has a new like slasher killer.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, that's interesting. And that's usually all it takes. So I'm sure like I was watching Revenge, or I was watching, I Saw the Devil, which are things or I saw Kill Bill, like I don't know what I saw where I go, you know what would be great? Like I just hadn't seen them in a while, and I do like those movies. I will say they almost always have sexual assault in them, which we don't love. This one doesn't have that in it. But it's like that's the thing about those movies. They always have. You're like, we don't love Last House on the Left. Like there's a ton of like these movies that I really like, but you're like, I don't like that part. But the whole point is you're not supposed to like that. You're not supposed to like that so that you enjoy them getting their revenge. I can't remember specifically what it was. Maybe because those not a so like Six Sidekicks came about a lot because Assassination is a very bad mystery. I was like, oh, I'd like to do a good mystery, right? And so I did Six Sidekicks, which I think is a pretty good mystery. It's probably as good as I can do, or I could have done at that time. And for this one, probably a lot of it was that I wanted Those Not Afraid to be very dark, to be an extremely dark sort of true crime serial killer. And it's kind of fun. It's kind of too fun. So sometimes always like me sort of trying to do the thing that I failed on the last one, which is what we call growth, people. We call that growth. But there's a lot of that. I mean, Pine and Merrimack is very much for me an emotional follow-up to I Hate This Place, because I wasn't done telling stories about people who love each other that have awful things happen to each other. I wanted to do one more. It's always that. So I can't say specifically what was the inspiration, but all those I love a bloody revenge, even though there's always part where you're like this part's, I don't love this part. And that's why I didn't do that. That's also improvement. Like, don't do that part.
Yeah. I mean, I definitely think it works better because like, I think we were talking before we started recording that there's like a line you could cross where you fall into gratuitousness. And I think that would have taken readers past that point. I think you walk that line. It's a tough line to walk though, but, I do want to talk about growth because there's one project that you can say the name of if you want. I'm not going to say it. This is on you. I'm not going to get a chance to talk about it otherwise because my arbitrary rule of guests only being able to come on once every 12 months. You do have an upcoming comic that you are writing and drawing. And you mentioned I Hate This Place. I would probably say I Hate This Place is my favorite comic by you, but it's close. I like a lot of your stuff. This might be up there when it's all said and done, whatever this project is. And I just want to say good job by you, readers. There's something coming in December that Kyle can talk about the name of if he wants, but it is awesome.
I'm going to talk about it because I don't care, because I'm excited. Because I'm excited. It's called WrestleHeist. It's going to be 5 issues with Image. It's about pro wrestlers doing a heist.
It's awesome.
And I think that's my intention is to have an ash can for that because it will be in the solicits for New York Comic Con. And I desperately need to make money because it's been a long year. I love it, and you know it's about pro wrestlers doing a heist, guys. I don't think I need to get into a lot about what it's.
It's very, it's very obviously in your wheelhouse, but it's also more than that. Like the thing, I'm going to give you a quick compliment. I think that, granted, I've only read part of it, but I think Sterling Steele might end up being the best character you've ever done. I think he's an amazing character, and there's some really. The thing about it is like. On the surface, it sounds like it's going to be purely comedic. There's some really good emotional beats in the first issue, and I think that you do a really great job.
Yeah. Despite the name, I feel like it's less overtly hilarious. Like, it feels like something like Karate Prom. Karate Prom is very funny to me. It's called Karate Prom.
Yeah.
WrestleHeist is kind of, a lot of it was if I was going to draw something again, I wanted something that there's less pressure on me mentally to worry about how good it would be. WrestleHeist is going to be as good as a WrestleHeist can be. But that's the thing. Is like I really want. There's an emotionality that's going to happen with all these, all these sort of wronged wrestlers who putting the team together to do a heist to rob basically WrestleMania. They all have a through line of sort of tragedy, and like I want to play into that. Like that's important to me because they have to have a good reason to want to do this thing that obviously isn't in their wheelhouse to do. I'm really having a lot of fun. I just finished a cover for issue 2 today, and I'm like, oh, I like it. They all look like old magazine covers, which I think is funny. Old wrestling magazine covers, and it's just like fun. We're gonna do a bunch of cool back matter. But yeah, I wanted, and listen, if we're pulling the curtain back, like this was also like making comics is very hard for me right now. The publishers are all in an interesting place because of Diamond, amongst other things. The industry is what it is, and it's like, well, I can. And my wife says it to me all the time when I'm very stressed out. She's like, well, you can always rely on yourself. Like it's always worked for you. And it's like I haven't drawn anything since 2020. I mean, I haven't drawn a book really since 2020, and
Head,
I
right?
always, which was
Karate Prom.
Karate Prom was 2020, yeah. And I did more art on it the year that it came out. Because like I forget how much I love drawing things, and I forget how I get to, with Image specifically. There's no editors. I get to do whatever I want, and that sort of purity of storytelling makes me very happy. I love this dumb idea because I love a dumb idea, especially a dumb idea with a good title. That's easy to sell.
I mean, there's two things I want to say about this. One is that I think it's a really, I mean, you want to tell it because you want to tell it, but also there's a lot of wrestling fans out there that are comic fans, and I think that there's a lot of.
That's me.
Yeah.
That's me.
I don't care about wrestling. I still love this. But the other thing too is like we've talked about it before. You don't look at yourself as an artist. You look at yourself as a writer and a cartoonist. You can draw your own stuff, but you would never draw something that like Matt Kint did, that he wrote.
I would rather not. Yeah. Matt, listen, Matt might be the exception because he's my good friend. Like, there's a bad example. Fine. Alan Moore calls you and he wants you to draw the next. No, you're not going to do it. But the thing about it is like you downplay yourself a lot as an artist. I was looking at your Kickstarter for The Legend of Ricky Thunder the other day, another wrestling book. Mm-hmm. The first book.
I say this with respect. You've improved so much as an artist. I think you're an amazing artist, and I actually think that like there is okay. We both really like John Allison, right?
Yeah, I love John Allison.
John Allison, I think if people looked at him versus Max Sarin or Alyssa Trayman on Giant Days, they'd be like, give me Alyssa Trayman every time. When John draws his own stuff that he writes, I like it more because it's in his voice. I think yours is the same way, and I think that that's part of the reason why WrestleHeist is as good as it is.
I think that's true, and that's what my peers say. My peers are always like, when like we like the stuff that you draw, and I'm like, well, you should read the other ones too. That they're really good.
I like your stuff.
My creative peers, like Schweitzer and Kent say it all the time, and it's like, yeah, my art, it is what it is. I think it fits my writing very well when it fits that writing. Again, I couldn't have done Where Monsters Lie because there's certain things that need to be. And I say that I couldn't today. But in 2 or 3 years, maybe I could. You know what I mean? Because I'm getting better in a way that it's all very fun. It's very kinetic. My art, it's very kinetic. It's very fun. It's very cartoony. And there is a way to make that be horror still. I don't know what that is. And there's certain things I'm just bad at. I don't think you could ever do
Devil on My Shoulder. I don't think you could.
No, that's what I'm saying. I couldn't. But there's also, as Schweitzer says in this regards, because there was a horror project that the pitch got rejected. Again, this is a rough year. And I was like, I could do it, but it wouldn't be as scary as it should be. And Schweitzer goes, he's like, things are what you present them to be. And I'm like, that's not wrong. But also there's a skill level. You know what I mean? Like there's a gap between me now and being able to even cartoon. I think you can do cartoony horror. It's been done. It's 100% been done. Arguably Mignola's cartoon horror, right? But his thing is that he found that trick, like, and I don't have that trick yet. So there's things like, it is comedy, it is action. Those are the things that I'm very comfortable doing that I think look good. And this is also, like, as you said, like, I think 5 years, in 5 years, the only book that was my art that came out was not in the direct market. So I've drifted away from the part where people look at me as an artist. I think the people who like me. That hurts shows, right? Like, I'm doing less commissions because people don't look at me as an artist as much. And I'm not trying to get more commissions, guys. They're a lot of work. But, like, that's money on the table. Like, I was telling, this year was different, and I don't know why. Is like, for say C2E2 8 years ago, I probably did 10 pre-shows, at least, something like that. And this year, it's like I did 2 or I did 1. And it's like, well, people don't look at me as an artist like they used to as much. And so some of it is that, but also I want to tell this story. I don't know what publisher I could have talked into doing this. You want to do a book called WrestleHeist? They'd be like, wrestlers. And I can do whatever I want. If Image said no, I'd just do a Kickstarter like Old Head, and I'd find a publisher to put it out, which would probably be fine because then they could read the whole thing and they'd see proof of concept and all that matters. But yeah, like, I'm doing this super dark bloody revenge, like super violent, gory, bloody revenge. And finally, what's the next one? It's called WrestleHeist.
Yep. The different flavors of Kyle Starks. I love it. And now, a quick word from one of our sponsors. Love sci-fi, horror, fantasy, and action? Then 2000 AD is the greatest comic you're not reading. 2000 AD has a whole universe of characters from Judge Dredd and Strontium Dog through to Rogue Trooper, Zenith, Shakara, and many more. In every weekly issue, you get 5 action-packed stories from incredible creators including Garth Ennis, Rob Williams, Alex DeCampi, and Dan Abnett. Get a print subscription and it'll arrive at your door every week, and your first issue is free. Or subscribe digitally, get free back issues, and download DRM free copies of each issue for just $9 a month. That's 128 pages of incredible comics every month for less than $10. And all subscribers get amazing offers like money off vouchers and exclusive products. Head to 2000AD.com and click on subscribe now. or download the 2080 app and start reading today. And now, back to the show. I do think it's interesting not to always make the comp between you and Chip, but one of the things, like, I talked to him on the podcast recently about the fact that, like, how he's perceived as, like, a writer.
It's changed, yeah.
Well, but the interesting thing too, though, is like you, he also is still writing and drawing stuff. It's just not kind of what people expect from her or what where they're looking for it. Like Public Domain, I think, is the best thing Chip has ever done.
It's so good. It's so good.
I think it's the best thing he's ever done, pretty handily, honestly. And I say that as somebody who really likes Chip's stuff. And, like, it is interesting how that works. But I do want to bring up one thing. This is a terrible question. I hate to bring it up, but I want to ask it anyways. I know you have a lot coming up. We've talked about a lot of it. And I've read a bunch of the new things you have coming. And I know about things beyond that. You've clued into something that's coming at New York Comic Con. You have things coming. Do you have any current comics coming out?
No.
I think that's the first time I can remember you have nothing coming out. It's very strange.
I can't. I'm not allowed to talk about what's happening at New York Comic Con. But
I know.
The long and short of it is that I was offered an opportunity that one I think is a dream. It's sort of a wild offer to anyone working in comics, and for it to be to me, I was like, what a complete honor. I don't want to mess this up. And so I put, and I think we said 2023 we talked about. Is that right? Didn't we say that? You said the other day, like, I think it was San Diego, or 2024.
Are you talking about when we ran into each other last year?
When we talked about this project we can't talk about.
Oh,
but
no.
That's when I started.
I don't know. You texted me about it in New York, when New York
so
was
2023,
happening.
So 2023. Yeah. And
no, 2024.
In my head,
2024.
I wasn't there last year. I went there
No. You weren't there, but we talked about it.
Oh, okay.
Anyway,
I really made it the priority for me at the time, thinking it was probably going to come out April this year or February this year.
I certainly did.
I certainly did. And then I thought it was coming out, and I'm like, that's it not happening. I feel like it was bad for it not happening when I thought it was happening. Was probably bad for my career because I took it basically 8 months off just to do this one thing, right? To really focus, to make sure it was good, to make sure it was right, to make sure it was equal to the opportunity. And now, then it was November, which is like, that's fine. That is literally 6 months after I thought it was going to come out. And now it's February of next year, probably. So that's the thing. There's less work because I was really prioritizing this other thing. And it has put me in a not great situation, if we're going to be honest. So we're kind of hustling, and even WrestleHeist was supposed to come out in November, but I guess that got pushed back a month. It's like it's not great. It's not great. Comics isn't a lot of money. You kind of have to be doing it all the time, and it doesn't help that majority of my books last year were. I'm not talking ill, but the facts are the facts. They were promoted so poorly. There's no royalties. Like, there was no royalties. So it's an interesting thing to go, oh, well, the conventions will help, right? The conventions will help, but they're all down. So it's all very frustrating, but I'm confident, it's been a bad year for everything for me. So what's money too? We can live. Who cares? It'll be fine.
Yeah.
I know
I'm right there with you. 2025 is trash.
2025 is trash. We both had medical expenses that we weren't planning for. Yours greatly worse than mine, but not as insensitive an area. I'm not going to talk about it. Sure. But it's been a rough year, but you know what? I believe in karma, not like in a weird way, but I've always found for every up there's a down. For every up there's a down, and if my wife's father-in-law had stage 4 lung cancer, and he's okay right now. Like, if my down is so that he could have an up, like, that's fine too. Like, it'll be fine. But boy, I'm hoping 2026 is a completely different looking scene. And again, like, just me drawing again, though, that's made the difference. Like, it's made the world to me. Because it's like, I'm going to do this, and I'm just going to plan now to draw something again right after. Like, I'm already going to start thinking about what the next thing is. Me losing my voice. I'm looking into maybe we'll do webtoons or something. Maybe we'll do. There's all sorts of different venues out there that I haven't stuck my foot in that I'm interested in, and I got away from me drawing things, I think, too much. I liked it before. It was like every 2 years. To go 5 years is, and it was actually 4. I did a webcomic called Louis Sprouse in 2021. That's available on my Gumroad. Go check it out. That I've also wanted to do a Kickstarter for since then, because it's 48 pages or something. Like, it's a weird page count that you can't publish. So, like, that's another thing. It's like, well, I did this thing that I really like. How do you do it? We're trying to figure out things. I think, where are we at now? What is July, August?
July.
Depending on this Kickstarter.
It will be August. Yeah.
Depending on this Kickstarter I feel like is going to sort of set the tone for the next 6 months. But I got a lot of stuff happening that I think is exciting. I'm excited about that ash can because I've never done that before, and I think it's fun.
So that's for WrestleHeist?
Yeah, I'm going to do an ash can for WrestleHeist for New York Comic Con for sure. And I've never done one. I've never done one of those. I just think it's a neat promotion. Supposedly this big announcement is going to happen. Like, in theory, New York Comic Con should be very busy and very exciting for me, and I'm in theory looking forward to that. I never look forward to that, but yeah,
going,
2025.
Right?
Yes, I must go. I'm expected to go, so we're going.
I will see you there. It's
yeah,
my
we
one
love
con
that.
of the year. Yeah,
it's a good one. It's like that's one of the like Heroes is the same, and the New York. If New York was less inconvenient for me, I would like it a lot more because everyone you talk to, it's really yes. Everyone who's there, like in that artist alley floor, is talking about comics. They probably know who I am. They probably know something I did. I think season 2 of Peacemaker is probably happening around that time. Like maybe I'm going to sell a lot more trades of that finally because that didn't sell as well as I think anyone thought it was going to. With Gunn now being Gunn, it's all interesting. I think the next 6 months are going to be very interesting.
Yeah,
and I hope exciting.
Yeah. I want to say, before we move on to the final subject, low-key, even though it's not in the airplane hangar thing that it used to be in at New York Comic Con, I still think that New York has one of the best artist alleys. It's always so loaded. It's crazy. I love going into that artist alley.
It's the best one. Like, because people show up who are huge guests. Like, Kevin Eastman just is there. You know what I mean? Like, but he's not, when he's at any other show I'm at, it's a huge, hey guys, guess who's here? At New York Comic Con, it's like, well, yeah, of course he's here. It's crazy. It's a crazy lineup.
I remember
it's crazy.
One of my favorite memories of that was at New York Comic Con 2023, and I was like in the comic sketch art area, and it was right over by your table, and I was like, I don't remember, there was like 2 people who had insane lines, and it was like impossible to even understand what was going on there. Yeah. And I looked over and I saw Jason Aaron just sitting there by himself. And I'm like, I walked up, I was like, Jason, are these your lines? He's like, I don't even know what's going on. And I was like, you got a second to chat? And we just chatted for a little bit. And I was just like, this is so weird. It's like the lines were so big, it can obfuscate the fact that there's another person who's very popular just sitting there by themselves. But that's neither here nor there. All right.
We don't love that, but.
Yeah. All right, to really close, we're going to talk about the NBA for a few minutes. Folks, if you do not like the NBA, this is your time to go. Kyle and I, we text. Kyle, do we talk about comics?
Not very much.
We mostly talk about basketball. Yes. We're probably going to talk about some deep nerd stuff, and that's really saying something because we were on a comic podcast. Kyle, your team is the Boston Celtics. My team is the Indiana Pacers. Both of our team's seasons finished with the best players tearing their Achilles tendons. Everyone's expectations for them are low. My question for you is, whose team do you think will have the least depressing season between the two of them?
Well, my team's not in Indiana.
So you're in Indiana.
I know, so I can speak. I can speak from truth. Who's going to be least? I think Boston's still going to be fun this year.
How dare you? All right, there's no wrong answer, but your answer is wrong.
Not having Halliburton, I think, hurts the ceiling a lot more than us not having Tatum. That's my look. But here,
sure.
Like this is the fandom of it. Like your fandom of it. Listen, I'll watch Derek White and Peyton Pritchard 82 games and be happy as a lamb, whether they win or lose, because they're a delight to watch play basketball.
I love the fact that you did not mention Jaylen Brown in your initial salvo.
Jaylen Brown. I mean, listen. I've been a fan of this team since both those guys. They can both be very frustrating to watch. Yeah. They make curious choices. That fun. The best player is rarely the most fun for me to watch. It's rarely that guy that I want to watch. That guy for me is like the publishers where I'm like, you guys should do your job. It's not my job. So yeah. Tatum should be good. Tatum should be good every game. He's not. And it's like, well, that's frustrating. That's not fun for me. But Peyton and Derek White, which, by the way, shouldn't be true because he's amazing. Whatever they do is great. If they succeed in any way, it makes me very happy because It's like they're fun to watch, and I'm rooting for them. Jaylen needs to do his job. I do prefer him over Tatum a lot. I think when he locks in a different way, I think this season will be very interesting for him. They had my favorite, not in the NBA player, on their summer league roster.
Oh my
Kenny
God!
Lofton
Is this
Jr.
time for Yeah, it's time for Kenneth Lofton Jr.
It's time for Kenneth Lofton. If they put him on the roster, and he plays any minutes. Listen, who would you rather have, George Niang or Kenny Lofton Jr.? The answer is Kenny Lofton Jr., baby. And I think that kid in the right situation could have a breakout season. He was just the MVP of China. I think there's something wrong with him that I don't know what it is. That's not my place. I don't have insider notes. But it's like, I think they'll be fun to watch. I don't think, because you have to remember, like, I was a Knicks fan before I was a Celtics fan, and the 90s were great. They were fun. They were awesome. But then it was miserable teams for so long. Like, at least I have Derek White and Peyton Pritchard. And I might have, like, a rookie or someone like Kenny Lofton who will be interesting. Like, if I was a Pacers, like, I'd be like, Mathurin's going to get a lot more minutes this year, right?
Mathurin?
Finally?
Yeah.
I
mean,
awesome.
the lineup is going to be Andrew Nembhard, who I think is going to have a insane season.
That's one of our guys. That's my guy. That's our guy.
Yeah.
Right.
I love Nembhard. Nembhard's amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, the thing is like Nembhard you watched it in the Celtics a couple years ago in the Eastern Conference Finals. When Halliburton went down, he was nasty. I mean, he was bringing the heat. Mathurin, who is both going into a contract year and is going to be starting and on a team that is going to need points.
I'm thinking of Nesmith. That's what I'm thinking of.
Mathurin is going to score like 25 points a game. Like he's going to put up numbers. Nesmith and then Siakam and then a weird like motley crew of centers of like Isaiah Jackson, Jay Huff, James Wiseman.
Huff.
I know you love Jay Huff. Yeah, yep. Here's my hot take. Even though this might say more about the Eastern Conference in the current state than anything, I think both of our teams are going to make the playoffs.
I think I would put money on it. Money on it. I would bet 6-7 seeds if I was going to guess 6-7 seeds. The East is someone messaged me the other day and they were like, because the Hornets won summer league, and they're like, should I be optimistic about this? And I'm like, well, what's your degree of optimism? Like, do you think they're going to I think they're going to be a 10 seed.
I mean, I could see them making the play-in, but again, that says more about the Eastern Conference than it does.
It says a lot about the Eastern Conference. I think they make the play-in. I think Charlotte makes the play-in this year.
What's your take on LaMelo?
I love LaMelo. He's maybe my favorite player in the league to watch. That's not.
I think it's hilarious that you love LaMelo because he is basically a human being made of your least favorite characteristics of Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum.
I disagree because my least favorite things about them is that they outright just make incorrect decisions, right?
He always makes incorrect decisions.
Listen, here's the thing about LaMelo. One, I think he is, I'm going to say top 3 most entertaining players to watch in the league.
Oh, yeah. He's a blast.
He is out there having so much fun. He added that weird jump shot this year, that weird 3-pointer, like 2 foot, weird jump shot.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
The set shot thing, I love it. But the thing is, like, he's in Charlotte. He's not going to ever win, to date. You know what I mean? So him being like, I'm just going to do this thing, you go, LaMelo's just out there having fun. And I like that. If LaMelo was on Denver, I'd be like, buddy, you gotta look at the team a little bit. But he doesn't have a team.
You're fine with the clown show characteristics because he's on a clown show.
Yes, 100%.
Okay,
100%. But he's so fun to watch. I miss my favorite players. Like I'll say, like Tony Kukoc. I love Tony Kukoc. I love Tony Kukoc because for no reason he'll throw behind the back pass in traffic.
Yeah.
And LaMelo is that over and over and over, and he's good. LaMelo's good. Like LaMelo's good. But yes, he reminds me more of Steph. See, in my head, LaMelo's closer to Steph. He's just out there having fun. Then Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown never look like they've had fun in their life. Out there on the floor, they don't look like they've ever had fun.
Okay,
like they're working. They're working.
One quick aside. I think the reason why I like Jaylen Brown more than I like Jason Tatum is because Jaylen Brown gets mad all the time, and I don't know if Jason Tatum has emotions on the court, and I think he should sometimes.
The only emotion he has is annoying frustration.
Yeah, because he shot another 3-pointer irrationally.
Yes.
But LaMelo, though, the thing I do really like LaMelo, the problem is like, it's like, I think actually people might hear Steph as a comp and like think that's insane. I actually think he's a good comp. The thing is about LaMelo is like Steph can tone back the tomfoolery circus act.
And he's more talented and smarter. I mean,
yeah. LaMelo, if I don't know, like, can he do that? I don't know. But here's the thing. I'm for your friend who texted about that. I think that they could be not bad, which is like the best thing that has been said about the Charlotte Hornets in a while, because you got LaMelo. Brandon Miller is really good. That Con Kneppel guy is pretty good.
He's going to decide it.
They've somehow went from having too many very similar centers to having no centers, which is very strange.
Who I don't love.
Yusuf. I mean, if you're relying on Yusuf Nurkic in the year 2025, you're in a dark place.
In the year
2020, as the Phoenix Suns know,
as Portland knows,
and then I hate Miles Bridges. Get that guy out of here. But at the same time,
he's a really good player.
That's 4 talented players in Yusuf Nurkic, and so
they have someone on their. They have like a not terrible bench.
I like Trey Mann. Trey Mann's good.
I like Trey Mann a lot.
He's solid.
Seth Curry is always Seth Curry.
They got your guy Grant Williams. Technically,
we don't talk about that because that's not a plus. That's not a plus for anybody.
Is he your least favorite Celtic in recent memory?
Well, no, Kyrie's my least. Kyrie's my least favorite.
Kyrie's been on like 9 teams since then, so I can barely remember that.
Grant, I liked Grant until like the last year he was there, and we all agreed because he was like a weird Swiss Army thing. But we were like, it's time for him to go. He's up there. Teague was really bad for the Celtics when he played.
Amazing on podcasts though.
So good at podcast. Dude, I like him a lot, and I liked him before, but you could tell he was. I think there's a lot I could speculate on, but those are my 3 least favorites for sure. For sure. This
is amazing.
And after that, I like everybody. Oh no, you know who else we didn't like? I'm blanking on his name. He played. He was a big guy who played for the Cavs. I think he's somehow still on their roster.
Tristan Thompson.
Yes, hated Tristan Thompson.
Why?
Oh,
he's so likable
for us.
He's bad, but he's so likable.
He was bad. He was bad, and they kept playing him, and people were like, even the announcers were like, always trying to justify his existence out there. You know what I mean? Anyway, those are my 4 least favorite Celtics, and I love everybody else. Nesmith. There was that kid from IU who wasn't very good either, who's not even in the league. But Nesmith,
yeah,
you know what I'm talking about. But he was fine. Here's the thing: he was fine. But if I'm going to go on forever on the list of players, it's a short list. Nesmith, we really liked. I wish I could remember what my wife's nickname, because she gives them all nicknames. I wish I could remember her name, because I think it was like, man, I'm like, this kid, and to see him go to Indiana with like its start, like that's great.
Good. He's good.
He would have games where he was always fine, right? He was always fine as a bench guy, but not exceptional. But every now and then you'd be like, I don't know, man, this kid, I think he's got something. So to see him go be successful someplace else, we love that. We love that for our guys.
A quick Aaron Nesmith take on the Celtics. The funny thing about him is I remember watching him on the Celtics, and every once in a while he would do something that you're just like, there's probably like 10 players in the NBA that can do this.
Agreed.
And you're like, I remember one time he got this offensive rebound when they put him in the playoffs, and like they just kind of sent him in like a wrecking ball and just like do shit. And he went in and he was playing like, if 100% is the theoretical max, he was playing at like 140%. And I just remember, like, you can't teach that. You can't teach that mentality. And the problem was, here's my theory as to why he never worked for the Celtics. They try to put him too much into a box. They try to put him into a system. And the Pacers system is chaos. And I think he's a chaos player.
I think that there's probably some truth to that. I think it also took him a while to find out how to be in that particular gear all the time. And minutes count. Like, if you're a rhythm shooter, and I think he is a rhythm shooter, like coming off the bench and playing weird minutes doesn't help. But he was inconsistent. That was the biggest knock against. We were like, some days you had this guy and you're like, this kid could be really good. Very rarely do we go like for Peyton, which, as you know,
you're like the biggest fan of Peyton Pritchard, including his family.
I bet I'm not. But like that dude and Marcus too. Marcus is the same way. It's like every time they're on the court, you're like, why take them off? Except for Peyton's 4 feet tall. Like that's not great. Defensively, there's a reason why he has problems. But
I've heard if he was 5 inches taller, he'd be an all-star.
I believe if he was 5 inches taller, he would be a one-time all-star somewhere.
The reason why I said I've heard that is because I've heard Kyle say that.
if he was 6'6", I think he'd be an all-star. I have no doubts about it. He's so good, man. And if don't pull the string on it. He'll talk trash about publishers, but don't make me talk lovingly about Peyton Pritchard.
So for listeners that don't know, which is 100% of you, because it was a private conversation between Kyle and I when we were texting about the podcast. I deliberately scheduled it before a call that he has with a publisher, because I was like, I need to limit how long we're going to talk about
Peter
Pritchard and Luke Cornett.
We've gone too far, right?
Yeah, that's fine. Whatever. Anyways, but I do. Here's a really charming aside I want to say about Aaron Nesmith, and then I'm going to ask my actual final question. Do you ever listen to Zach Lowe's podcast?
I haven't listened to it for a long time because whenever he switched to, he went to ESPN. Yeah, I quit doing it. I quit then. Yeah. Which is just time. There's time. I only have so much time in my day.
He's my favorite. He's like my favorite writer and favorite podcaster about basketball. But he has this one story that he told multiple times in the podcast that I find very charming about Aaron Nesmith, where it was during like the days when he was on the Celtics where he wasn't playing, and Zach Lowe goes into, I think like the locker room or is in the hallway or something after a game, and his Nesmith is standing there with his agent, and he goes up and he talks to him, and he basically says that like. He's just like, I just want you to know. He's just like, I really like, I believe you have what it takes to be a really good NBA player. Yeah. And like, he said that Aaron Nesmith was just like, really? Like, he was like genuinely like kind of blown away. And then like and then later on, Zach Lowe, I think it was on his podcast, shared a story about during, I think, the Eastern Conference Finals, like when. I don't know if you watched him turning into the Human Torch against the Knicks in the first game where he made like 7 threes in the last like 3 minutes of the fourth quarter. But he said that he went into the locker room, Zach Lowe did, and Nesmith is like, it's my guy, the guy that believed in me.
Yes. Yeah.
And like, I think that is great. I mean, like, there's the people who have chips on their shoulder, but like, I think it's great that Nesmith is like, I remember this guy who always believed in me. And you know what? Kyle Starks and David Harper, we always believed in you. But last question. If you exclude the Oklahoma City Thunder for obvious reasons, and you had to pick one other team as the one that's most likely to win the NBA title this upcoming season, who would it be?
Denver.
Yeah, it's got to be Denver, right?
I think so. I thought
this is at least in part because you do not believe in the Rockets.
Yes. Well, I don't believe in one player, but I think the Rockets are probably number 3, and number 4 is probably
Cleveland.
I was like, it's maybe Orlando. I feel like Orlando could be interesting this year.
They still I still don't think their offense is going to be good. They just don't have. They need a point guard, man.
I agree, but I just think they're going to be better because like they're starting to reach that age where you make that step forward. Cleveland added someone really interesting though.
Lonzo Ball, man, for Isaac Okoro. What a crazy trade!
It's crazy if he plays, which I don't think he will.
He played a lot last year and he was really good.
They added someone. I thought they added a big man. Anyway, Cleveland's probably up there. I think that's probably. Listen, the Rockets could do it only not because of who they added, because I don't believe in him.
Kevin Durant is who's the him he's referring to.
I'm not going to say it.
It's not Dorian Finney-Smith that he doesn't believe in.
the success that he's had in the past is if he's had someone who will do the grunty, tough guy stuff that he is completely incapable of doing.
Russ did it. Entire team.
And it's kind of the entire team. So that's the thing that makes me go. But here's the thing: he's empty. I just don't know what if he's the thing that's going to put them over, and not just them being a year older. Really, you know what I mean? Like, and the thing is, like, I wouldn't be surprised. I have to see it. I think Denver made smart moves.
Oh, dude, it's crazy. Like every move they needed to make.
You know, there's a world like there's a world where everyone's healthy, and if everyone's healthy, the Clippers are going to be problems for everybody. Like, no one's going to be able to hang with the Clippers if they're all healthy. But here's the thing: they will not be. They are
very old. They are very old
and very hurt hurt. Just like they're not good. But if 4 guys, their benches, like everyone on the team is good.
Yeah.
Even the guy, if they're the same, it's like Norman Powell, Zubac. Like
Powell's gone. Powell's gone.
Oh, is he?
They traded Norman Powell and they got John Collins in the trade.
John Collins. Yeah. John Collins.
Then they got Brad Beal. They got Bradley Beal.
Brad Beal. Will he be healthy?
Chris Paul.
He's not healthy.
He's always healthy.
Chris Paul's a negative for the playoffs, though. Somehow, a lot of those guys are. A lot of those guys are negatives in the playoffs. For why? I don't know.
Kawhi isn't though.
But when's the last time he played?
He played the entire 7-game series against the Nuggets.
Yeah, it didn't work. I like Kawhi, but on paper, like when KD and Beal went to Phoenix, and people were like, "Oh, I'm like, I don't think so." But if life is bad, if existence is bad, Phoenix wins the whole thing because that's a bunch of unlikable guys that shouldn't win the whole thing. That's how the Clippers are. if life is unfair and cruel, the Clippers win a title this year because none of those guys deserve another ring, not one of them. But
I want to go back to the Nuggets really quick. The Nuggets. The thing that they did in what they did in the offseason is unbelievable because Michael Porter Jr. is like, I don't know. There's enough times where you can, credibly make comments like, is he betting against himself like his brother was? Where you're just like, this guy seems like a double agent against himself. Trading him for Cam Johnson, who is a really solid player, who Jokic is going to do sweet, sweet music with, is unbelievable. Bruce Brown is a perfect Denver Nugget and was before and will be again.
He's back.
Valanciunas actually committing and saying that he's going to be the backup center. They've never had a good backup center. Getting him to play like 16 minutes a game is going to be amazing.
Is he? I heard rumors that he was going to leave. He was going to go.
He committed. That was the idea. Now he's committed to Nuggets. And then Tim Hardaway Jr. is like an amazing seventh man to just come in and gun because they need 3-point shooters. He's and he was really good for the Pistons last year. I know you watched some of the Pistons last year.
Yeah, I did. I didn't watch enough last year, but Tim Hardaway Jr. was one of the last players who was on those Knicks teams I had to watch too, where they kept rolling him out, and we're like, he's not. That was
not ideal. Tim Hardaway Jr. That was back when people were like, "Is Tim Hardaway Jr. starting shooting guard?" No,
he's not. But now he became very reliable bench shooting guard, which I like. I just think they're smart, man. And that Cam addition, he never had anyone when he was striving in the Nets. There was no one helping. You know what I mean? Like there's no helping. And you're like, why would he have a 40-point game and then 3 8-point games? It's like, because they're now double teaming him. You could see this is a really good player who the coaches aren't helping. No one on the team, Kyrie, cough, cough, cough. No one's helping. He's on a team where he's going to be open, and it's going to be interesting. And I think he's going to be. Jonas is good. I like Jonas a lot. I've always liked Jonas. And Jonas is so good in international play that playing along with Joker is going to make him better too somehow at whatever age he is. It's just a good team, man. They're just a good team, and they did it before. And Joker, I think he will get one more ring at least. And I think this might be the year that he has to. I mean, he doesn't have to, but I feel like if he gets one more ring, you have to have a top 10 conversation about that guy.
I think the only reason why I'm skeptical about them getting another ring is because, and granted, they took him to 7 games, but I don't know if you watched that Thunder Nuggets series, but
I did.
They were so brutal on Jokic. It was crazy. Alex Caruso was directly guarding him, and every time he got the ball, they would just collapse into a swarm of knives on him. And
which you have to.
Yeah. And
especially if you're we're going to make Michael Porter Jr. beat us all day.
Oh, yeah. Well, and that's the thing is okay, so Aaron Gordon not going to have a torn hamstring when he plays. Jamal Murray hopefully will be healthier. You got Cam Johnson there instead. Christian Brown was making a lot of really great steps last year. He was really solid. But then you can swap any of them out for Tim Hardaway Jr. if you need more shooting. Bruce Brown if you need that weird point guard center combo. Yeah, he's like a human Swiss Army knife. He's awesome. Yeah. And they have so many options now for playing against the Thunder. I think that the Western Conference Finals is going to be the finals effectively.
It is. I think it will be too. I think 100% will be. And I think, listen, if you made me put money down, I'd say Oklahoma City just because they're so deep, man. They're so deep. They're just brutally deep. That second team is probably a 7th seed in the West. They're just real good. But I've always liked Joker.
I love Joker. I love Jokic. He's amazing.
And I want him to get one more. And I think this is a good year opportunity. Though I do think, and here's the other thing, Oklahoma City is young enough, and I don't want to say that I know from experience, but there's a certain type of player when they get that ring, the next year they don't try quite as hard. And Oklahoma City might be that.
I don't think
so. They
might
be. I don't think they will either. But I also thought the Celtics weren't going to be like that. And well, they seemed a little comfortable. They seemed kind of comfortable.
The thing I honestly think the reason why, and I know this is kind of a weird person to pick for it, I think Jane Williams is
agreed.
That dude is awesome, but also his mentality is exactly what you want for a somebody to go for a back to back. And Shea too, but I think J-Dub is the straw that stirs that drink.
Caruso also is. I think he wants as many rings as he can get. But it's all I think when young guys, that they're the ones who take their foot off. they're the ones that are like, well, that's what we wanted. You know what I mean? So, but we'll see. I do think, again, if I put money down, I'd pick Oklahoma City. But I think Denver, I hope they're as good as I think they're going to be, because I think that makes the year better. Because this is going to be like the bizarro year of basketball. Like, there's so many people hurt, big names hurt in a way that it's going to affect everything in such a weird way that what happens this year will be no reflection of next year. It will be zero reflection of next year.
I mean, we just had a credible conversation about the Charlotte Hornets making the plan, so obviously it's going to be a weird year.
I think they can do it. I like Charlotte. I've always liked Charlotte. They're one of those teams that I root for. Even like Memphis, Sacto, Charlotte. Like, I root for those teams. I want them to do well. I want them to do well. And it's like, man, come on, Charlotte, this is your chance. This is your year. If that rookie is either going to be boom or bust for them. And I think he could be boom. I think he's kind
of what they need. They need a dude who's just like boring and functional.
Yeah,
to counteract.
I agree.
The LaMelo show.
But he does all the things. He's such a great, on paper, if he does what he's capable of, he's such a great addition to that team for their offense. And it's like, man, that's, again, what are we talking about? It's like 8 seed. You know what I mean? Like, best case scenario, 8 seed. But come on, Charlotte, we do something. We believe in you.
We believe in you, Charlotte. But you know what, Kyle Starks, I believe in you too.
I know. I appreciate that, man.
That is all I have for you. Thank you so much for coming on and talk about Where Monsters Lie, Devil on My Shoulder, LaMelo Ball, and everything else. I really appreciate you taking the time.
Yeah, thanks, man. Good stuff.